Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another edition of MJ Every Day. A little bit of a different episode for you guys today. An episode that I've been wanting to do for a while. I haven't done this episode yet because, to be honest with you, I've kind of been advised against doing this episode. But it is something that I've wanted to talk about in an episode of MJ Every Day. And I think on the balance of helping people out versus erring on the side of caution, I think that this is a very important episode to shoot, a very important episode to broadcast, and some important information to get out there to a bunch of you who are watching this series, and in particular this video. I wanted to talk to you guys today about performance enhancing drugs. I want to talk to you about steroids in this industry because they are obviously prevalent and not really spoken about enough. I'm going to talk about a few things in this episode. This is going to be a slightly longer than normal episode because there's a lot that I do want to get through. I want to firstly talk to you guys about my stance on steroids and performance enhancing drugs in the health and fitness industry for aesthetic purposes. For what a lot of you are in this industry for is changing the way that your body looks. I want to talk to you guys about those of you who choose to go down the path of using steroids and performance enhancing drugs, the sorts of things that I have seen people make mistakes with, over my more than a decade in this industry. I've seen a lot, not just with supplements, but with drugs as well. And I want to kind of communicate some of those experiences that I've seen other people go through, and just some warning signs that I want you guys, if you choose to go down that path as well, just some things that you need to kind of keep in mind, so that over the long term, you guys are, you're not taking unnecessary risks. So first and foremost, my personal stance on performance enhancing drugs, on steroids and pro hormones and SARMs and all those sorts of collective exogenous hormones. I have been a natural athlete my entire life, and I will continue to be a natural athlete. I have no intention of going down that path because it doesn't suit my goals. I can achieve what I need to achieve as an IFBB men's physique pro naturally. Ethically, I prefer to be a natural athlete. I've got a performance sports background, a basketball background. So, since a very early age, it's kind of been drilled into me that taking steroids and performance enhancing drugs is cheating. And for me personally, I really don't think that it's a necessary step for pretty much everybody watching this video. Unless you are a top pro bodybuilder and your livelihood depends on how you perform as a top pro bodybuilder, I really don't think that there's any need for you to be messing around with your hormones to the extent that exogenous hormones, steroids, performance enhancing drugs, SARMs, pro hormones, all those, that whole entire category of exogenous hormones, I really don't think that you need to be messing around with your hormones to that extent. That's my personal take on it. And, we can go down and we can have a discussion about hormone replacement therapy as you get older into your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. That's a completely different kettle of fish. It's a different subject matter. I'm talking about young guys, young girls who are in the health and fitness industry for the purposes of changing the way their body looks for aesthetic purposes, which is going to be most of you guys watching this video. That's how I'm framing this video. That's what we're talking about. And when I talk about that, I'm saying that unless you're a top pro bodybuilder or pro women's physique or pro women's figure, depending on if you're male or female, and your livelihood depends on your performance, and for whatever reason, the level playing field at that level of competition is that everybody is taking them, there's no reason for you to go down that path of exogenous hormones, in my personal opinion. That's where I stand on it. I want to make that very clear right from the start. If you choose to go down that path At the end of the day, guys, it's your body. I can tell you my personal opinion. I can tell you where I stand. I know that there's going to be a bunch of you, no matter what I say, that want to go down that path. And at the end of the day, it's your body, it's your prerogative. You guys can do exactly what you want to do. I just want to give you a little bit of information that if you do choose to go down that path, I've seen a lot of younger people go down that path in my over decade in this industry and make a lot of mistakes. And I want to prevent you guys from making the same mistakes. So for those of you who do choose to go down that path, there's two main things that I have seen a lot of people fuck up over the years. The first is information is power. If you are messing with your hormones through steroids, SARMs, pro hormones, if you're doing things that are gonna change your hormone profile, get information to know what your hormones are doing. The number one mistake that you can make is to take drugs and not get hormonal androgen blood tests done and not know what your hormones are doing. The number of people that do this, young people that do this, that'll go and, fill themselves full of testosterone or Anavar or whatever the drug is, pro hormones, whatever it is, but not get blood tests done, not understand where their testosterone is sitting, not understand where their estrogen is sitting, not understand where their prolactin is sitting, not understand where their SHBG is sitting. And by the time that they get to a state where they literally feel so off that they have no choice but to go see a doctor, and they get blood tests done, and the doctors come back and they say, a number of times I've heard guys go to doctors, and then the doctors have come back and they said, man, you literally have the hormone profile of a woman who's 6 months pregnant. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. Or girls who, have the hormone profile of a man and not a good hormone profile. I mean, it's first and foremost, if you're gonna go down this path, get frequent blood tests done. Find a doctor who you can be honest with and tell your doctor what you are planning on doing. And at least then you know what effect the drugs are having. You guys, you have to understand that these drugs are very powerful drugs. They have the ability to affect, some of the most important hormones in your body that affect a whole range of physiological and psychological processes in your body. And for you not to know what's happening and what the effect the drugs are having is literally like running a blind race. It is the worst thing you can do. So guys, I encourage you, if you are going to go down this path, you're thinking about going down this path, or you're down this path already, make sure that you get information. Find a doctor who you can trust, who you can be honest and open with and say, look, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. This is what I'm taking. And then the doctor will actually be able to say, if you're getting into dangerous levels, pull you up, pick you up before you get to those dangerous levels and do some serious long-term damage, not only to your physical self, but you have to understand, guys, that when you start messing around with testosterone, estrogen, your thyroid hormones, there's a big mental health aspect to it as well that often can do much more longer term damage than it can short term. So, having the information there and having a professional there who understands what you're doing, why you're doing it, what you're taking, and what effect those very powerful drugs are having on your body, and able to keep you out of the danger zone is just like, it's the number one thing that you must be doing if you are choosing to go down this path. The second thing is, and this is something that deeply concerns me for a bunch of different reasons, and really, to be honest with you, deeply concerns me not just for people who are going down the path of exogenous hormones, but for people who aren't as well, is patience. So many people in this industry, and I would bet a lot of money on the fact that those of you watching this video who have chosen to go down this path are doing it because you want results fast. You don't have patience. You want to look like that person you follow on Instagram, within a year. You want to look like the top men's physique model on the planet within 6 months. You want those results fast, and that's fine, guys. It's human nature to want things very quickly. I mean, we're being conditioned now in the way that society operates now with, all the social media apps and the ability to get things fast. We're being conditioned to want things very quickly and not exercise patience. But I want you guys to understand, especially you younger guys and girls who do watch these videos, late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s even, it takes years to build a physique. It takes years to recomposition your body, to put on muscle mass and lose body fat. It's not something that happens within a year or within 2 years or within 5 years. It's something that takes decades. And if you look at the people who you aspire to be like, most of the time you'd be surprised to know how long they've been in this lifestyle for, how long they've been lifting for, how many competitions they've done, how long they've been competing for. Most of the time when you hear about these people, you're hearing about them 10, 15, 20 years after they started. To your perception of it is, shit, man, this overnight. It happened overnight, so it should be able to happen overnight for me. It takes time, guys. Patience is the number one. The one saying that I love about this health and fitness lifestyle and bodybuilding in particular is bodybuilding is a marathon, not a sprint. It's not over in 100 meters or 200 meters or 400 meters. It's a 42 kilometer race. It takes time. Because it takes time, you have to be patient. So you can't expect to take more drugs and more drugs and more drugs and more drugs and get results quicker. It doesn't work like that. It's not a relationship between the amount of drugs you take and how fast your physique develops. It takes time. You have to be patient. If you're watching this and you're a teenage guy, you've been lifting for 6 months, a year, and you're wondering why you don't look like the person you aspire to be like on Instagram. You're wondering why you don't look like me if you aspire to look like me. I've been lifting for almost 15 years. This takes time. The guy that you follow on Instagram has probably been lifting for 10, 15 years. Girls, if you're watching this, that bikini athlete has probably been competing for close to 10 years. They've probably had weight training in their life since they were a kid. You can't, it just doesn't happen that fast. And as soon as you start going down the path of taking drugs and taking exogenous hormones, I think it's very easy to fall into the trap of more is better, and in particular, more means quicker results when it really doesn't. It still takes a very long period of time. It still takes patience. You guys need to be setting yourself up, whether you're natural or not natural, you need to be setting yourself up for this to become a lifestyle that you lead for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, the rest of your life. It needs to become a lifestyle, and you need to be patient with your results. So please don't fall into the trap of firstly wanting to take performance enhancing drugs because you think that that's going to make your results come faster. Sometimes it will. Don't get it twisted. Most of the time it won't, because there's a whole lot of other factors in there that are much more important than how many drugs you are taking. Genetics, diet, consistency in training, what sort of training you're doing. So many variables, guys. So firstly, if that's the reason why you're thinking about considering taking performance enhancing drugs, understand that it really is not going to make that big of a difference in the long run, in the long picture. If you are taking them and you're thinking that taking more is better and is going to get you results quicker, that's simply not the case. Guys, please, 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 exert patience. Understand that bodybuilding is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's going to take a long time to achieve your health and fitness goals. And you know what, guys? When you get to a particular goal, if you're in this lifestyle for the long term, guess what? You're going to set another goal. So it's really, there's no such thing as like a finish line. It just continues. It rolls over. And that is why patience and perseverance and consistency and dedication is so important. And it's really something that you really need to get your head around if you're going to be in this lifestyle for the long term, because it really rules everything. I think that's enough for this episode. I think those are the main messages that I want to get across to you guys. I apologize, this episode is longer than a usual episode of MJ Every Day, but I think that the topics that I have discussed are important, and I think that there's a lot of you who are already taking drugs that this is going to help, just in terms of making sure you get the right information and exerting patience. And for those of you who are thinking about going down that path, I hope that this information helps sculpt your decision for your own goals and helps you make the right decision. If this video can help at least one of you avoid a lot of the long-term problems that I've seen people who have jumped into drugs too early experience, well, then that's, mission accomplished as far as I'm concerned. And guys, that's a wrap for this episode of MJ Every Day. As always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Turn your post notifications on, both on your mobile, your cell phone, and your desktop PC, so you don't miss a beat when it comes to the MassiveJoes YouTube channel. Until tomorrow, I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Stay massive.